There are lots of stories about how things come to be, or how things came to be. There are stories of mythology, stories from religion, and stories from science. But we're not actually interested in these stories. What we're interested in is how come we are experiencing what we're experiencing right now. You're probably experiencing, at least visually, some kind of screen. And you're experiencing sounds, perhaps in the form of my voice. How do you experience that? What's the mechanism, assuming that there is one, by which this works? Well, I won't go on about it because I've gone on about it often enough in these videos. But we'll take the scientific story here. The scientific story is you experience it through your senses. Well, how does that work? Well, the senses take the vibrations, take particular vibrations and turn them into electricity. So all we get is electricity, and if we saw a diagram of this, you'd see a little arrow coming from the nerve pointing to somewhere inside the brain. We never really get to see where that arrow is pointing to. No matter what diagram you look at in what science book, you'll just see a little arrow pointing to somewhere inside the brain. It would be nice to see where that arrow is pointing to. Because where it's pointing to is where all creation happens. It's where all subjective experience of sound, colour, shape, feeling happens. So somehow the mind creates all this based on electrical signals, which strikes me as staggeringly absurd. That's the scientific point of view, that somehow it's all reconstructed without any exception whatsoever, because there cannot be any exception. It's all reconstructed from electrical signals. I want you to think about this, just to appreciate the absurdity of it. Because if all we know is based on electrical signals, well, how do we even know about the electrical signals? The electrical signals can't be any more than notional either. They can't be any more than a model for our understanding. This is all science gives us. It's all it can give us is a model. It's not giving us reality. It's giving us a model of reality. We've actually got reality. But what we do is we substitute it for a model. A very good model. Science is very good at giving us models. But we really must step away from this tendency to replace our direct experience of reality with a model of reality. So, that aside, I think we can all agree that the whole of physical creation is created by the mind. This is what science tells us, is it not? Just as our dream world is created by the mind. We've no problem with accepting that the world of our dreams is created by the mind. Although if you try to tell us this in a dream, we might dismiss it. In fact, if we're in a dream, the sort of reaction you might get from somebody when you tell them this is the sort of reaction you might get from somebody in the waking state. If you say that this is all mind created, even though this is a scientific understanding, at best they might just accept it but not want to think about it. You've got to get on with reality. But this is reality. Neither in the waking state nor in dream is there a real world. Consciousness experiences itself as such, and that experience is known as the world. Consciousness is what creates models of the world and then identifies with these models. It's your consciousness. It's what is actually hearing right now. It's what's actually seeing right now. It's nothing to do with perception. It's nothing to do with any model of perception, any theory of perception. There is hearing, there's seeing going on right now. Focus in on that. Examine the seeing directly without conceptualizing. Turn your attention to seeing right now. Listen to the listening. Look at the seeing. In this way, you get in touch, you become aware of your own awareness. This is the life force. This is reality. This is reality. This awareness that is hearing, that is seeing, that is feeling right now. Just drop any theories, any stories you've got about what's going on, and realize this awareness right now, this awareness by which you are aware of what is going on. And then you realize the dreamlike nature of what you considered reality. Because this is real. This is real. Dwell in this. Dwell in this. Don't argue about it. Because every argument is trying to replace what is happening right now with a theory about what is happening right now. Look at this tendency that you've got to replace what is happening right now with a theory about it. Sure, there are things you're going to have to get on with very soon, but you can keep coming back to this awareness, this reality. Reality. Everything arises in this awareness. It's a cascade of experiencing. Just as your dreams are. Look at the infinite variety and creativity in your dreams. This is the nature of consciousness. So neither in the waking state nor in dream is there a real world. Consciousness experiences itself as such, and that experience is known as the world. Your consciousness, your awareness wants to identify with all these ideas you've got. And then you get caught up in certain moods and feelings which fuel these ideas, these notions, and so on. Just as the world seen in a dream is nothing. We call it void, because what is the substance of a dream? Even so, the world seen in the waking state is nothing, or void. Just as one man's dream experiences are unknown to the person sleeping next to him, one man's experiences in this world are unknown to another. And this is it, isn't it? This is why it's of the nature of a dream as well. It's all happening right here. This reality, our awareness, is playing with itself. It's getting caught up in its notions. And it's not you that is alone in some kind of solipsistic narcissism. This consciousness is identical. In me, in you, in everything. There's no differentiation in it. Differentiation arises in it, but there's no differentiation in consciousness itself.